Hello, and welcome to this whiskey taste challenge. I have two Kentucky straight whiskeys. This is Jim Beam Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I should have said bourbon whiskeys. Introduced in 1938. Okay, I know the company goes back to 1795, but this particular brand, their most famous brand, the original Jim Beam Kentucky straight bourbon, was introduced in 1938. I got two of these half-size bottles for $9.98, so can't complain about that. Probably won't see that deal again. They're going back to the white cap. They went to black cap for about 10 years, probably just to make sure they rotate stuff. All right, here is Ezra Brooks, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, sour mash from Luxco. I saw this and it looked unusual because I had not seen this label before, and it looked kind of older. And as it turns out, it is. It's a 2015 bottle. And they still make this, but it's only for Australia export today. Why they picked Australia, I don't know, but that's a story. But I know where to find this. They had a lot of it too at International Market of Metairie, Louisiana. $10.99 for this bottle. $10.99. I was like, man, I looked at it for a few years actually on the shelf, and I was like, should I buy this? I don't really need any more bourbon. But then I figured, you know what's going to happen. I'm not going to be able to find it in it. I'll see something unusual, I'll regret it. So I'm glad I bought it. Been having it for about 2 years, or at least a year, I guess. They still have it, like I said. And then it's right next to the current Ezra Brooks, the 99 proof. This screen is kind of. All right. Anyway, that's not important. Jim Beam, if you look at the label, there's no age statement anywhere on the Jim Beam labels. So technically, I guess, since it's not labeled, it's not put on the label, it's technically non-age stated. But in reality, it is age stated because they talk about it on the website. That is age 4 years. Jameson, you look at the Jameson bottle, never see an age statement. But you look at the website, it tells you it's age 4 years. All right, so we see that the Ezra Brooks is lighter. You may not be able to see that in this dark. The Jim Beam is a little darker, but they're both in the amber copper range, more like amber than copper. So, well, I'll show you the websites for what that's worth. I guess it's worth a little bit. Aged twice what the law requires. Well, the law requires 2 years for straight bourbon. So twice that is 4. Each sip reveals flavors of sweet caramel, vanilla, woody grain, and oak. And you can still find this for around $13 if you look around. Probably won't find it that cheap, but yes, it is the world's best-selling bourbon. If you don't count Jack Daniel's for Tennessee whiskey, even though it's a bourbon. So that you could argue one, but no one's going to bother doing that. So you see this at every liquor store. It's not rare. It's common in any size you. Here's the Ezra Brooks. That's it. That's all they show. A 50 milliliter, the little airplane bottles, in export black. And, or maybe the 50 milliliter goes around the world. I don't know. The 700 milliliter, not the 750 like I have. The 700 milliliter, you get in a case, goes to Australia and export. It's 80 proof, the black. So, isn't that something? The obvious answer is that that store, International Market, has bottles left over from 10 years ago. Probably had it in back stock and boxes, and maybe they ordered too much or whatever, and they just keep putting it out as time permits. You could tell it was stored carefully because, it's not like faded or chipped up or damaged in any way. The bottle looks new. I mean, the label looks kind of old fashioned, but the bottle itself, the condition looks like it was just bottled a month ago. Herbie on Wheels, E. Brooks. Yes, would like to try it. Jim Beam market is huge. It sure is. Kevin Cant says, what do I like better, Jack or Jim Beam? Can't really say, honestly. I like them both. They have their own unique characteristics. They're both kind of on the bland side by design, so it's hard to say. I like whatever one's cheaper. That's what I like, which means Jim Beam. So I guess I choose Jim Beam because you're gonna pay more for Jack Daniels, but I don't see where you're getting more. Some people would get angry at me saying that, but is it really that much better? If I could find Jim Beam for $11.99, unlikely, but $13.99 easily, I'm not going to pay $23.99 for Jack Daniels. It's just telling you the facts. That's the way it's going to be. Klein Fear says, hello, Frondich Groove. Okay, Herbie says, Jack and Jim Beam both are bad drinks. Bad drinks? Okay. I guess the people in the world like bad liquor. Well, they like bad politicians generally, so what the heck? All right, bad policies. But nobody likes bad weather too much except maybe construction companies. Okay. Yeah. Regular old bourbon. Now, what's different in this aroma than the American blended whiskeys I was doing is not a big difference. You can try that out yourself, but the difference is you get the charred oak here. You get like oak that's been set on fire and let to char at different levels: low, medium, higher, medium, and high. The high char level, number 4 level. But you get that, and you just don't get that with the American blended. What would you say? Kevin says, what would you say are the best bang for your buck from a price to taste ratio? Well, Jim Beam might be one of them. If you're really looking to save money, Now, if you're willing to spend a little more, well, Benchmark, you could even go lower and get Benchmark. Is usually a little cheaper than Jim Beam. Depends, but it's no worse. It's up there, so in flavor. So that could be a good one from Buffalo Trace. I would say Buffalo Trace is probably your best because I can still find that for $23.99 at various stores, and you get a great payoff on that. It's aged around 6 years. Or you could get Sazerac Rye. We can still find that. They'll run sales $19.99. People in other states tell me they pay outrageous amounts, but there's 2 good values right there. My grandpa's tab says my grandpa's drink was Seagram's. So you talking about 7 Crown? Still very popular. Have you had Monkey Shoulder? No, nor Famous Grouse, but I keep hearing about him and I know I need to get to it, but it's just time and storage. I got so much stored now. I don't really feel like getting any more. And I can't do it all. I have to kind of portion these out over time. Time runs out. Not well for us, eventually. Jack Daniels, Apple, Jim Beam, Honey, etc. Those are popular. They have a following. All right. Same appearance. One is a little lighter, one is a little darker. They're both clear. So that's not really a difference as far as what's better. Aroma isn't really coming out too different. I'm gonna mix them. I did glance down and see a darker one, barely, but I don't want to corrupt the challenge. Will I be able to tell them apart in flavor? I don't know. I don't have much confidence in that. I mean, I've only tried Ezra Brooks once before, so I don't have or twice before I did it in a group chat, but I don't have a lot of experience how to pin it down. Yeah, vanilla, that like dried fruit cake fruit that you get in the Mylar bags. Oak, of course, the vanilla coming from the charred oak. Sweet corn. Is there rye spice? I don't know about that. Now Jim Beam doesn't say on the label anything about sour mash, so it seemed like they would tell you if it was a sour mash bourbon. Ezra Brooks clearly shows that. There is a mintiness here. First, I was thinking peppermint, spearmint. Well, it must be rye, huh? Amazing. Sweet corn, vanilla from the charred oak, the dried fruit cake fruits, and the mintiness. These are remarkably similar. So they're both aged probably 4 years. We know Jim Beam is. Ezra Brooks has no age statement on it, but that's probably meaning 4 years. I don't think a 1099 bottle is going to go be aged 12 years. True story. That's what I paid, 1099. I'm gonna have to look for the sour mash. See if I get any sourdough bagel on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to be lost on this. Now, sometimes I find that Jim Beam has this like green wood, like a green wood flavor. And I used to say like cellar mold. I'm not really getting that anymore. But green wood, like the wood wasn't totally dried, which I know is not true, but I just say that's what it tastes like. Yeah, maybe there's the sourdough bagel thing, and that's probably definitely stretching. That's probably reaching for something, and I think that's what is happening because I don't really know. But I'm going to take a guess based on those minimal differences. If they're differences, like I say, could be reaching. So I know one thing: if I was looking to buy more bourbon, and I'm not because I got too much now, but theoretically, hypothetically, if I was looking to buy more bourbon and I had these two choices, I'd go with whatever's cheaper. Now in this case, I paid $9.98 for the Jim Beam, but that was a special sale, so that's not going to happen again, most likely. The Ezra Brooks, that was just the price on the shelf. It wasn't a sales price, wasn't a special offer. It was just sitting on the shelf, $10.99. And I do believe I could go there today and it'll still be that price, but I certainly don't want more. So I would just shop price on these. I would literally shop price. Now you have some funny people out there. Like if you brought Jim Beam to a party, oh yeah, Jim Beam, bring him, put over here. But if you brought Ezra Brooks, what's that? That's some kind of off-brand. It's obviously not an off-brand because a lot of liquor stores and probably most liquor stores have it. It's like they got a whole end cap for it at Walmart by itself. They really push it at Walmart. Maybe they got a deal with Walmart, but it's been around since 1957. You can easily find it. It's from a smaller company, okay, but it doesn't mean it's an off-brand. An off-brand would be like Jesse James, American Outlaw Spirits Bourbon. That's weird. That's an odd product. Or like what's that other thing I have? The Bird Dog Bourbon. You say, well, Bird Dog's everywhere. What's wrong with you? I got the blackberry Bird Dog. My cousin likes the peach. Yeah, they got the flavors everywhere. But the regular Bird Dog Bourbon, they don't have it listed on the website. I get the impression that they probably don't make it anymore, but I don't know that. And Walmart was selling it for $10 even. on a closeout. Why? They're trying to get rid of it. Why was that? Probably nobody was buying it. They're buying all the flavors. That's an off brand because it's strange. You know, it's like off kilter to what you used to seeing. Um, and it's kind of bland, so I could see why people weren't too in a hurry to buy it. No, I don't hate it, but or that Tom Sims bourbon that I bought in Texas, way down on the Mexican border, one of those little stores. Well, actually, a big chain of liquor stores down in Texas on the southern part. Fleer, Fleischmann's, Fleer, or something. I don't know. I could look it up. It's not important. They have a number of stores. They had it for $11.99, and how often do you see Tom Sims? Not too much, but it's around. So I'm talking about off brands or doggone G&W bourbon. That's a strange one. Bankers Club straight bourbon, Kentucky. That's another, if you want to call it an off brand. But they probably have hundreds of what people call off brands. Yeah, it's probably right. Everybody wants to go run and buy the same thing, which that's fine. If you like Jack Daniels and you buy it all the time and you don't want to deviate, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think you're missing out on trying other stuff. But then on the other hand, they do all kind of taste the same. So maybe you're not missing out. You say, well, I got different labels. Yeah, that's kind of what you got. All right. So I'm going to say this is the Jim Beam, and the label will show right now. That's the Ezra Brooks. So I'm starting off the challenge series with a 0-win, 1-loss record. Not happy about it, but not surprised by it, because I just said they taste almost identical. And so when you're dealing with products that are almost exactly the same, it's kind of hard to differentiate them. Now, some people will say, oh, yeah, I could easily tell Dr. Pepper from Pibb Extra, formerly Mr. Pibb. You could, okay, then do a blind taste test. Let's see how much of an expert you actually are. Or any products. They got people that's like totally loyal to certain seasonings. I only use Tony Chachere's. I would never use Zatarans. I would never use Seasonal from Morton. I'm like, well, did you ever look at the ingredients? They're almost the same exact ingredients. Paprika, mostly salt, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder. Oh, no. Oh, that stuff's no good. And I'm thinking, yeah, once again, blind taste test. Let's, don't talk it, show it. And you could really trick people up with light beer, They're so dedicated to their brand. I only drink Coors Light. And I know them. Yeah, well, how many times you did a blind taste test? Well, I never did that. I don't have to do it. Right. And it would be a big risk to do it, because it might undermine your whole argument. Clan Fear says whiskey or cognac. I would say both. I got a whole bunch of cognac and other brandy, and I got whiskey. So if you want a liquor made from grapes, get cognac. If you want a liquor made from grain, get whiskey. It's up to you. I prefer grain, like cereal, over fruit, honestly. If you gave me a choice, a fruit basket for breakfast or a hot or cold grain cereal, I'm going to take the cereal. But as far as distilled products, that's much harder for me to say. But anyway, so I'm sorry I got it wrong, but that is how it goes oftentimes. So how taste Coors and Bud Light? Don't have it in Hessen. Which German beer would you compare it to? I don't compare, because I don't think light beer is really in play in Germany. Secondly, Coors Light and Bud Light are made with adjuncts such as rice and corn, which is not allowed in German beers. The German purity law does not allow corn or rice, so you're going to get a different flavor. Yeah, I would say none of them. None of them compared to a German beer, really. I mean, you might try them and you might like them or you might dislike them. I don't know. You'd have to see for yourself. But yeah, I don't see much crossover, except they taste like beer in general, but not otherwise. They're not really too similar. I don't think you'd ever confuse an American light beer with any German beer. No way. Okay, good Sunday morning, everyone, says Jason Whitcomb. Good morning to you and everybody else. Thanks for watching. Plan in about 3 hours and 45 minutes, so close to 4 hours. I plan to do porter and stout porter Sunday. Any porter or stout porter, and I have one from New Jersey, so that'd be interesting. Corona, Carlsberg, maybe. Yeah, but they're not from the United States, so they don't. Oh yeah, so I would just say don't even think about it because they're not comparable. It's just they're not. You could try them. You could try Corona, Carlsberg, Miller High Life, Miller Genuine Draft, whatever. If you can get it, you're going to notice they're not very similar to German beers. I think you would notice that. Okay, well, y'all take care now. Bye bye, everybody.